Utilizing pair programming promotion in the computer science classroom. Abstract perception of CS is as a difficult subject, especially in programming. Research has suggested that pair programming has many pedagogical benefits. In this study, pair programming and group of pairs programming were utilized through OOP class in practical laboratories and software development project team. Pair programming tests and written midterm final exams, as well as survey were conducted. Results showed that pair programming creates an environment conducive to success, favorable, helps to weaker student frustration free with programming problems, and increases programming self-confidence. There was increase in final exam scores, suggesting pair programming and group of pairs programming have individual programming skill benefits. It is expected that it would influences to help increase retention in CS in the future. Keywords: collaborative learning, pair programming, extreme programming, group of pair programming, object-oriented programming, computer science. Introduction. The shortage of computer science, CS, graduates in Thai workforce has been appeared. It was reported that CS enrollment decline as well as students dropouts are problems facing in every Thai university's 5. The top reasons for rejecting the CS study were its difficulties in programming and technical work. In addition, programming skill of CS graduates is today poor. Laurie and Robert confirmed that students were very frustrating in an introductory CS courses, in particular programming courses. They were frustrating that typically, 1/4 of the students drop out of the classes and many others perform poorly. 6. However, programming skill as the importance of CS basis provides the best possible CS graduates in self-evidence. Thus, there are intense efforts to find the appropriate teaching methods as well as an opportunity for practice in programming classes. Much of the evidence from several sources indicates that a collaborative approach on the same design, algorithm, code, and test yields better than working alone. 1 2 3 6 7. The use of this technique is called pair programming, where two programmers work on one program. Pair programming was employed for the in-class activities. 7. It is a novel collaborative paradigm which is growing in popularity in the CS industry. 1. In this study, pair programming as a pedagogical technique was focused on the teaching of programming to a second-year CS course in object-oriented programming, OOP, although pair programming originated in industry. However, it is focused here on using in educational settings. 2. Objective. While there is a growing body of research in the area of pair programming, few studies, possibly none, have focused on groups of pairs as project software team. The primary contribution of this study is a direct assessment of the effects of pair programming and groups of pair programming on the development of individual programming skills. 3. Literature reviews. The perception of CS as a difficult subject discourage students from choosing study it in the first place. 3 4. However, it is reported that the benefits of pair programming pedagogies appear to help increase retention in CS 8. Thus, pair programming is firstly reviewed. Pair programming. Pair programming is a collaborative paradigm, originated in industry. Pair programming was employed for the in-class activities where two programmers work on one program. Keith and Michael 7 explained that with pair programming, all code is developed at a single workstation with both students working together. One student assumes the role of the driver who writes the code, which the other student assumes the role of the navigator who makes suggestions, and corrects coding and logic errors as they occur. Laurie and Robert 6 clarified that driver has control of the pencil/mouse/keyboard and is writing the design or code. Navigator as observer continuously and actively examines the work of the driver, watching for defects, thinking of alternatives, looking up resources, and considering strategic implications of the work at hand. The observer identifies error, syntax, misspelling, or smaller logic mistakes. Much of researches on pair programming have shown that programmers working in pairs produce shorter programs with better design and fewer bugs than those working alone. Weaker students can learn more from stronger students. 3. The workload of the teaching staff is reduced because the students more often look to each other for technical support and advice. 7. Working in pairs performs a continuous code review because the navigator is constantly reviewing the work of the driver, leading to a higher quality product. 6. Pair programming creates an environment conducive to active learning and collaboration, helps to lower student frustration with challenging problems, and increases programming self-confidence and interest in CS. 8. However, it is found that students have poorer learning outcomes when paired randomly, rather by ability. 3. Students were required to switch role for each step. 7. B. Object-oriented programming, OOP. Computer programming I and II courses are introductory courses, teaching to the first-year CS students, CS1. They are procedural programming, but OOP is a new programming paradigm. Lecture is still an efficient way explains new concepts and construct. However, programming is best learned through practice and experience. 3. Thus, it is indicated that the second-year CS students, CS2, have faced two problems in the same time: their programming skill and knowledge of new programming paradigm, OOP. OOP is a programming model that organizes program around objects, rather than function and logic. An object has unique attributes and behavior. The organization of an object-oriented program consists of objects. A programmer wants to manipulate and identify how they relate to each other. OOP focuses on the objects, but procedural programming focuses on data as input that are processed by functions and logic to produced output. The difference among them is that software design in OOP focuses around data or objects, but procedural software design focuses on functions and logic. This OOP approach is well suited for collaborative development, where projects are divided into groups. Thus, all production code could be written collaboratively with a partner. This indicates pair programming is highly beneficial in OOP class. Thus, both lecturing and collaborative in-class activities are necessarily used in OOP class. Lecturing is needed to provide an overview of OOP concepts and construct what is it and what to do. In-class activity enables students work with OOP how to do and technical aspects of the new content in a complex, local environment such as a laboratory. 7. The techniques of pair programming were implemented for this part of collaborative in-class activity. 4. Methodology. This study was carried out with a second-year CS class, CS2, in Rangsit University, Thailand, taking in object-oriented programming, OOP. There were a total number of 28 students enrolled in fall semester, 2020. A design. This study is based on both OOP concepts and programming skill. The researcher designed the study, shown as timeline in Fig. 1. Fig. 1 shows that the study was divided into 4 parts: pair programming, groups of pairs, groups work, and of course survey, and individual OOP concepts and construct. The study was employed with pair programming and group of pairs. Students' performance was assessed through pair programming tests, PPTs, and written examinations. Measures of attendance, programming confidence, and perceptions of the pair programming and group of pairs were also examined by end of course survey. B. Procedure. Part 1. Pair programming. Changes to a new programming paradigm, such as OOP, has needed lecturing that is the most effective in transmitting information as what to do. While lecture was taking, pair programming has been exercised to learn as how to do. Each class was employed in OOP concepts and constructs with pair programming practice during 4 hours closed lab period. Prior to beginning the pair programming, guidelines for implementing pair programming in the classroom were introduced to students in step-by-step. An important decision was that how to pair up the students at the beginning of course. In this study, students chosen their own pairs, closed friend, for the whole term, and the students were required to switch role for every week. Here was hope that letting students choose their own pairs would be pleased and be willing to work and sit next to each other as they work. Interestingly, it was found that students agree that their skills were well matched and they got along with their partner, as measured by randomly interviews in class. 7 weeks before midterm, 14 pairs of students were assigned to pair programming tests, PPT, for a couple of weeks. Thus, 3 PPTs PPT1, PPT2, and PPT3 had conducted on week 3, 5, and 7, respectively. See timeline in Fig 1.